Hello and welcome to the VickyCharles.com podcast for those of us who need just a little help with our blogging and social media. The show notes for this and all previous podcasts can be found at VickyCharles.com/podcast. And at the moment I'm giving out free social media tips. Just go to VickyCharles.com/social-tips and fill in your details, and then I'll email you 3 personalised action points for your social media. You can also sign up there for my mailing list. This week's episode, number 58, is 5 ways to use Facebook Live video. So let's get on with it. So welcome to episode number 58 of the VickyCharles.com podcast. This week's episode is 5 ways that you can use Facebook Live. And the first one is to give a behind the scenes. So in the same way that I always tell people, use your Facebook page as an extension of your business or your blog to show behind the scenes, to show the bits that, the cutting room floor, the bits that were missed out, but also, this is how we get this packaged up to go out to a customer, or this is what our office looks like, things like that. You can do a live stream. When Mark Zuckerberg announced that he was rolling out live streaming to everybody, he did a live stream from the offices, a room full of computer geeks, and that it gives that insight into it that you don't see from watching kind of a polished finished product, or receiving something in the post from your company or an online thing, or whatever. It gives that kind of personal touch. It makes it more personal. And that's what people want. They want the whole point of live video is that they get to see the real you. So show them the real you, show them the behind the scenes, show them what you're doing. I would say here, although, do all of that, show all of that, but make sure that it's not like, think about it in terms of would I watch that if I saw it on my feed, basically. Make sure that it's got good lighting, it's not kind of shoddy, bumpy camera work. Use a tripod if you can. But, good lighting. Make sure that people know that they're being filmed for Facebook Live. So say before you go live, we're doing Facebook Live now, guys, so no effing and jeffing, or, smile for the camera, whatever, so that you're not getting people kind of going, oh, I'm running away from the camera, because like the second time that happens, people are just going to go, oh, boring. I can, if I want to see people run away from the camera, I can point it at my mum. I don't need to watch it on Facebook. Try and make it interesting and engaging and give people a reason to watch it. And also don't give them reasons to switch off. So things like the lighting and the holding the camera. You don't want people to think it's like Blair Witch 7 or something. The second way that you can use Facebook Live to your advantage is to broadcast live events. If you're running a live event for anything at all, then use Facebook Live to broadcast it. Maybe not the whole event, maybe sections of it. Here's a section of a talk by our keynote speaker, la-di-da-da-da, and just maybe the first few minutes of their talk, or the last few minutes of their talk, or, something like that. Something to really get people going, God, I wish I was there, this looks great. The first year that I was aware of Brit Mums Live, I didn't go, but they live streamed huge chunks of it, and I watched so much of it, and it really made me want to go, so much so that I actually did get off my bum and go the next year. Now that was live streamed through their website, because it was 2 or 3 years ago now, but it's definitely worth bearing in mind that when you live stream your live event, you create a buzz that is not just among the people who are there. You create a buzz among the people who are sat at home on their computer or their phone wishing they were there, and that's what you want, because then the next event is likely to sell out, which is what you want. If you've got confidence in your event, in your speakers, in whatever's going on, then why not show it to people who aren't there? I mean, obviously don't show the whole event, because then it's a bit like, well, these guys paid and they're not getting any more than the guys sitting at home. But, make it so that people are like, oh, I wish I'd gone. Oh, this looks so good. Oh my gosh, that person, all of that, really build up that kind of buzz around it. The third way that you can use Facebook Live video is to interview related people. So if you run a business, you might interview somebody who works in the post room, or somebody who works in one of your shops, or your accountant, or whoever, anybody, maybe the creative director, somebody who came up with this new product. Interview one of your customers if they live locally, things like that. There are ways that you can set up like a Skype call. I've seen people do this on Periscope, so they set up a Skype call with the second person, and then you kind of try and do that, and that really doesn't work. If you want to do that now, use Blab, to be honest, and then post it to Facebook later. I can't see how it's going to work. What you can do now is, if you are talking about a specific product that you got from a company, there is a button that you can press, which is like, it looks like 2 hands, and if you press that button, you can tag that company in your live video so that they see it, and then you would hope they would share it with their fans, because especially for bloggers, if you're reviewing a product, why not do a video of your kid playing with the product, or of you using the product, or of you talking about the product, a live video, tag the company in it. Especially at the moment where it's still so new, they are likely to share that with their followers, and you're going to get a massive reach off of that, where you're showing everybody, the thing about reviews is that they want to know that real people are doing them, and what's a better way of saying, yes, I've used this product and it's brilliant and blah blah blah, than doing a live video where you can't be just reading out a press release, you can't just be copying out the back of the book, you're really talking about it. And that's a brilliant thing. I think that's really going to kind of separate the wheat from the chaff in terms of giving good quality reviews of products, and also kind of showing that you're using it, that it has been used, that you still use it, that your kid really does enjoy playing with it, and you didn't just have to post that one picture against the good wall. Things like that, I think it's going to work really well on. And you can tag the company in it, like I said, and they can, hopefully they will share your video. Even if they don't share it immediately, they'll share it later and people see it. Like I said in last week's podcast number 57, that you should go back and edit your live video as soon as it's finished. Absolutely do that, because if you've shared it with a big company, they might share it with their however many thousand followers, and that's, potentially a massive reach. You want it to look good for them. The fourth way that you can use Facebook Live to your advantage is to give your opinion on current events and news. Now, I don't mean, my business page is about Facebook and social media and blogging, and I wouldn't do a Facebook Live video on that page to talk about the latest budget or, whatever scandals going on in the news at the moment, because it's not relevant. But I also run a blog, and I also have a page for my blog, Single Mother Ahoy, and I might talk about it on there because that's more of a lifestyle thing, and it has a much wider kind of base in what I can speak about. So I might speak about that, especially if there's anything about benefits or cuts to benefits, anything about single parents, education, nurseries, especially in the news. I might talk about that on that page because that's relevant to that page. So don't just go, oh my gosh, have you seen the news this morning? There's this super injunction and blah, blah, blah. If it's not relevant to your page, if it's not something that you would normally talk about on your page, or if you wouldn't normally write about it in a post or post a picture of it, don't just video about it just so that you can do a live video. Make sure that it's relevant to your normal topics, but absolutely give it a go. You might find that then you can have a conversation with people about it, where they will either give you more material or disagree with you, and you can have a bit of a, not an argument, but like a disagreement with them, and argue the toss over various points. It can be really interesting, certainly more interesting than doing that just in written form. The fifth way that you can use Facebook Live video is to give tips and advice. So like this one is 5 ways to use Facebook Live. Most of my podcasts are 5 ways to do this, 7 ways to do that, blah blah blah. You can do that with a live video. Now I did say, last week I spoke an awful lot about knowing what you're going to say and having bullet pointed notes but not a script, and that is so true, especially for this point. If you've got 5 tips, write down the 5 tips exactly. They're 5 headlines, put them on a post-it behind your camera, and then crack on. And if you don't know your topic well enough to be able to just bounce off of those 5 tips, then you're not qualified to give those 5 tips. Don't write yourself a script. It will look and sound absolutely awful, and nobody will want to know, because they'll just think, well, they've just printed out an article and I can just go and print out the same article. I could read that on BuzzFeed. I don't need to hear you tell me. You need to give people your spin on the tips and why you're giving the advice and why it is relevant and important. And absolutely, that's a brilliant way to use Facebook Live video. Some of the best live videos I've seen so far have been people giving tips and advice about social media, about blogging, about business, about productivity, about how to write a book. It's all really useful, and the fact that people can respond to you in real time, that's really great when you're giving out advice, because they can kind of make sure that they understand what you're saying, and you can say that, and they can go, all right, so wait, hang on, did you mean that I should do this, or should I do this, or what about in this circumstances, or what about when this happens? And you have to be careful then that you don't end up kind of going down a rabbit hole of this one very specific case of this person that has one leg and needs this and blah. Make sure that anything that you're going to talk about in detail is going to be relevant to most of the people watching. But absolutely, talk to people, have the conversation, make it interesting for everybody, and make reading the comments and kind of responding to them, make sure that you're giving the absolute best value for people's time. They're giving you their time to watch you on video, so make sure it's worth their while. So those were my 5 ways to use Facebook Live video. I do hope you found it useful. If you have already ventured into the world of live video, I would love to see your videos, so do please leave me a link either as a comment on the blog post or on my Facebook page, which is vickycharles.com, so that I can have a look. Thank you so much for listening to the vickycharles.com podcast. The show notes for this and all previous podcasts can be found at vickycharles.com/podcast. And don't forget that at the moment I'm giving out free social media tips. So if you go to vickycharles.com/social-tips and fill in your details, I will email you 3 personalised action points for your social media. You can also tick the box on that form and join my mailing list, where you will be sent a free download of social media tips. And you'll be on my mailing list, so you'll get loads of cool stuff sent to you. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll be back next week.